Alright guys, welcome back to another installment of Beyond the Blueprint. So with a lot of these videos, I try to hit on some of the meat and potatoes type features that aren't necessarily the sexiest or the back of the box type features, but features that would instead make franchise a more deep experience. Today though, we're going to switch things up a little bit and focus on one of those more casual features. This is going to be something that doesn't really have much of a practical use within franchise and isn't going to come with the same kind of impact as most or really any of the things that I usually talk about, and in reality is something that franchise could easily live without. That being said, I still think it would be a cool addition and would be something that once franchise started to get back to a good place would be one of those cool little extra things that users are glad to have. And as you saw by the title and intro, we're going to be talking about an NFL's top 100 list concept. So the idea here is that either at points through the offseason or just at a specific point before the next season starts, you're going to be presented with the NFL's top 100 list, just like you see or are currently seeing right now each week on the NFL Network. Now, just to be clear, I don't put any stock or significance into the top 100 list. To me, it's just another one of those things designed to stir up controversy or talking points for all of these debate shows. But I think that's exactly the purpose that it's intended to serve. It generates reactions and opinions, and that's more or less all of this feature would be designed to do. I don't want this to have any impact on progression or morale or contracts or anything like that. I don't want players getting 10,000 XP for getting into the top 100. This would just be one of those cool little features that pops up every offseason and keeps you in touch with the top players from around the league in a fun and somewhat realistic way. If you remember the old NBA Live games, they used to have power rankings throughout the season, and this would be a thing kind of similar to that. You can do this a couple of different ways. Like I mentioned, it can either pop up at different points after the season is over, so maybe in between each week of advancing after the Super Bowl, you're presented with a block of 10 players. So for example, with free agency, there's a few different stages there. So each time you advance, you'd be able to continue free agency, but you'd also have the option or a task to take a look at something like these screens as well. The other option would be having it just be its own task at the end of the offseason. So right before you went to the preseason, you'd have the opportunity to scroll through this, and it could also be made available in the league news throughout the preseason, as well as be something that intermittently scrolls through the ticker while you're doing stuff in your CFM. As for the mechanics of it, the beautiful thing about this is that it's something where horribly flawed logic can still work out. As long as you don't have third string quarterbacks in the top 10, then you should be fine. It could be as simple as just using overalls to basically make the top 100. You could get a little bit more complex and use production as the sole mechanic, similar to how the MVP award works. There doesn't need to be some flawless formula here. It just has to be coherent enough to make sense on the most basic level. The cool thing about this as well is that it would be something that tracked and changed year to year, so you'd be able to keep tabs of how your own players are stacking up, as well as being made aware at the end of each year who the top players are from around the entire league, which goes back to that constant theme that I preach in keeping you involved and aware of as much going on around your league as possible. If you watched my last Beyond the Blueprint video on player cards, you may have also seen that I included top 100 placing in the player cards award section as well, so it wouldn't be something that just came and went. You'd be able to look back on it as well. This is also one of those features that I think would be somewhat popular in the social realm as well, whether it be online leagues or social media to a certain extent. And I'm going to compare it to when they added the player cards that showed your draft picks attributes as soon as they were taken. It was a seemingly innocuous change, but if you've ever been on the Madden Reddit, it used to be just littered with screenshots of draft picks that people made. And I think this would be kind of held in a similar vein. And then if you're in an online league, all or most of these players are coming from user teams, so it just makes for something interesting to talk about with other users within your league, or even brag about, even though it's pretty meaningless, just like the real life NFL top 100. All in all though, like I said, this isn't a huge feature and it's just more of a tack-on feature, but those kind of features are important too. And most of the time there are also features that you don't necessarily have to worry about tweaking, having to remove, or as a user worrying about it being removed. They're just set and forget features. But let me know what you guys think of this. If you like the idea, hate the idea, or if you have any other ideas similar to this that you'd like to see. I hope you guys at least enjoyed some of the mock-ups. I'll probably tweet a few of them out later. My next video is going to be a What the Franchise, but I'm not exactly sure on what yet. And then the next Beyond the Blueprint video is either going to be about the CFM ticker or injuries. I also haven't decided on that yet, but by the time the What the Franchise video drops, I'll likely have decided, so I'll be sure to let you guys know then. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.